Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 5. We want to presenting our teamwork by title Cambodia. Next. Number 1, Cambodia, a country in Southeast Asia. Cambodia is a Southeast Asian nation whose landscape spans low-lying plains, the Mekong Delta, mountains, and Gulf of Thailand coastline. Phnom Penh, its capital, is home to the Art Deco Central Market, Military Royal Palace, and the National Museum historical and archaeological exhibits. In the country's northwest are the ruins of Angkor Wat, a massive stone temple complex built during the Khmer Empire. Next. And number 2, things that Cambodians do in aspect of cultural. The first point is Cambodians are likely to sincerely appreciate any efforts to learn their language, despite the language's difficulty. Second point is talk about family, work, and home country. This tends to be of interest to Cambodians, who in turn will quite happily talk about their own family members, their work, and place of origin. The third one is Cambodians smile often and appreciate it when the warmth is reciprocated. Fourth, Cambodians avoid embarrassing someone by criticizing or correcting them in public. And the last is, when there is a conflict, it is often resolved through an intermediary rather than discussed directly with the person who has taken offense. Next. B, things Cambodians don't do or avoid in aspect of cultural. The first point is avoid disrespecting Buddhist statues or iconography. Second, although Cambodians tend to be forgiving about unintentional cultural gifts, they do not take well to being deliberately slighted. The third point is, upon first meeting, Cambodians tend not to ask their counterpart what their name is, nor share their name. The fourth point is Cambodians tend to avoid overtly showing their emotions, particularly anger and frustration, as it is thought to lead to loss of face. The fifth point, some Cambodians avoid discussing events and experiences that happen under the Khmer Rouge regime, as it may trigger intrusive thoughts. And the last one is avoid homogenizing those from Cambodia with people from neighboring countries such as Thailand, Vietnam, or Laos.
So I'm going to explain the third one, that is Cambodia's core concept. The first one is homogeneity and the Khmer ethnicity. Cambodia is a fairly homogeneous society with 97.6% of Cambodians identifying as ethnically Khmer. Many Cambodians today consider themselves to be descendants of the Khmer people from the Khmer Empire. Next. And B, Khmer Rouge regime. The Khmer Rouge, also known among Cambodians as Pol Pot time, marks a dark period for most, if not all, Cambodians. The main goal of the regime, led by Pol Pot, was to create a socialist society where modern influences of the urban population or new people were to be eradicated in order to return Cambodia to a pre-modern society of old people. Consequently, millions of Cambodians were killed, an estimated 1.5 to 3 million, due to execution, forced hardship, disease, and starvation. The majority of Cambodians were forced to flee urban areas and enter labor camps in rural Cambodia to work in agriculture. This dismantled previous distinction based on class and the population urban-rural divide. Some attempted to escape by crossing the Cambodian-Thai border, with many Cambodians remaining in refugee camps for years until they were able to resettle in receiving countries around the world. Next. Okay. C, demeanor and face. The Cambodian proverb, fear not the future, weep not for the past, encapsulates the general way of life that many Cambodians take. Given the tragedies that occurred during the Khmer Rouge regime, many people have shown incredible forgiveness in order to coexist peacefully with those who were a part of the regime, as well as Khmers who may have lost loved ones. The Cambodians also tend to have stoic and cheerful demeanor. They rarely complain or show discomfort. D, social interaction. Many Cambodian social interactions take another person's status in relation to oneself into account. In almost all cases, how one sits, walks, or otherwise interacts with others will be determined by the status of each individual present. As a result, it is not uncommon for Cambodians to ask personal questions in order to determine your status so that they can address you correctly and behave appropriately.
Furthermore, core concepts is description of the core culture in which there are general things from a culture such as the habits of the culture, host attitudes and social interactions, and etc. It can be concluded that both of them are related to one another. As the following of example, Cambodians often smile and appreciate it when warmth is reciprocated. Furthermore, number 5, each country has different core concepts and do's and don'ts. This makes every country have a different view of some things, so that there is a diversity of cultures with different attitudes, norms, taboos, also cultures in each country.
So that's all of our presentation. Thanks for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.